set, Karen?
Sure.
Okay. We met for the first time this morning, is that correct?
We did, yeah.
And we had a phone conversation last night
Right.
because you volunteered to do this with me today. Why don't you
Yes.
explain a little bit about what our phone conversation was like last night?
Okay, well, I got an email back from you. I emailed you and said if you still need somebody, I'd be willing. And then you emailed me and left me a voicemail saying that let's talk about it, what your concern is and get a sense of that. And if I couldn't connect with you, is to hum a few bars and give you a sense of what it was we were talking about, which I thought was rather clever and amusing, kept me engaged, and all right, I could do this. So we finally got to talk to each other, and you asked what the problem is, and I explained, and then you kind of gave me a summary of, I heard this in terms of anxiety in this, and there's two different things, but they're kind of intertwined, and that at the end I would feel less, potentially less anxious when and that there was an emotion reaction in one more than the other, but that I would feel differently, less anxious, and more resourceful.
Okay, very good. You have great receptive and memory skills. Wow. And there was one question that I wanted you to think about because I was going to ask you today. Do you remember what that was?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? I asked you to think about how you would like to feel about this.
Okay.
Because there is a problem, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have two choices today. You can talk specifics about the problem, or you don't have to.
That's okay. I don't mind.
You don't mind? Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that you are and that you stay comfortable throughout the whole time.
Okay.
So instead of going to that problem, and we're going to say that problem's way out there,
Okay.
what I'd like to do first is to try to make you as comfortable as we can. Okay?
Okay. As soon as you say that, I got nervous.
You did?
Yes. I wasn't
Oh my
nervous
goodness.
until you said get comfortable. I'm like,
Okay. It's coming up already, huh?
Yes.
Well, don't go there. That's out there. Stay here with me. Okay? So I want you to think about a time when you felt the opposite of the way you feel when you think about this.
okay.
Can you think of one? Yeah. I noticed your eyes went up to the right when you did that. That's very interesting. Tell me about that experience.
Sitting at the beach and hearing the waves and feeling the sun and just hanging in with the rhythm of the nature, that things take care of themselves somehow.
Things take care of themselves somehow.
It'll happen.
It'll happen, yeah. Were you with anyone?
No. I mean,
No.
sometimes I am, but at this moment when I thought about it, I was by myself, sitting on a towel, just hearing and listening and being there.
Wow. And
Feeling warmer.
when you think about that, what thought comes up?
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Okay. Karen. Karen,
Yes.
if you had to come up with an adjective that would describe that experience for you, what would it be?
Centering
Centering.
or
Okay.
peaceful.
Peaceful. Peaceful. Which one is better?
Peaceful.
Peaceful. Peaceful. Okay. What I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to maybe close your eyes and just drift back in time and settle into that experience, that day on the beach, on the towel. Things have a way of working out. And it's peaceful. And I want you to take it to the top. I want you to experience everything that you experienced that day peaceful. And I want you to lock that into your memory and into your physical memory so that you can feel the sensations in upper body in your legs and your toes and even in your hands. Peaceful. Peaceful. And then when you're ready, you can come back here slowly and open your eyes. Didn't want to come back, did you?
No.
She didn't want to come back. Okay, so we know what peaceful is like, right? Okay. So anytime while we're doing this work here, if I say the word peaceful, peaceful, Karen, peaceful, you can flip your experience back here. So if there's something distressing, you can flip it back here. And here, at least, in this chair, in the present, you can be peaceful, no matter what's happening anywhere else. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Okay. So we do know there's a problem state, as we would call it, right? And it might be complicated.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. Why don't you explain to us what you think the problem state is, but before, think about it, okay? Just to make sure that we don't disturb things too much while you stay peaceful there. If that problem state is going to be out there, what visual represents that problem state for you? Something that reminds you of it?
Just messiness, like
Messiness. No particular event or memory or anything?
not really.
Not really?
Just kind of like walking into a space that's like
Okay.
chaotic or
Okay. You said it's visually messiness. Can you describe that a little more for me?
it's just like things sort of falling apart.
Things falling apart. Okay. In a particular location?
No. No.
No?
I mean, I can think of like when I pile too much stuff on my bookshelf or my desk,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you do one thing and then everything starts cascading down or that sort of thing.
Okay. So there's too much stuff. And is that a metaphor for you? Too much stuff on you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And are we getting to the problem state now?
Yes.
Okay. What's the central part of the problem state?
Being a long-distance caretaker
Okay.
for my mom, who lives in Florida.
Okay. Now remember, what's that word?
Peaceful.
Peaceful. You can be peaceful. That's out there. That's out there. Okay? That looks better. That looks better. Being a long-distance caretaker for your mom who lives in Florida. Okay. Something happens to you when you think about all that, right? You feel like there's too much on you. We know that,
Right.
Physically, what happens to you? Are there any sensations that you have?
I get teary.
You get teary, okay, some emotion.
I get anxious, like I want to hold my breath.
Like you want to hold your breath. Okay. Anything else?
I get a little bit angry, a little
You
bit
get angry.
kind of pissed off, like,
Okay. All right, so there's a mix of sadness and anger.
yes.
So they flip back and forth?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I get mad that I'm sad.
of course.
I hate that.
Right, right. Okay. What about sounds? Are there sounds associated with this?
Like the telephone ringing.
The telephone ringing. That sounds like a trigger. So when the phone rings, something happens, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. And what are the smells? What are the tastes?
I'm not. I'm thinking food, but nothing in particular.
Okay, nothing comes up for you related
No.
to that. Okay. So what we've got so far, which seems pretty clear to me, there's a messiness of some kind. It's out there, it's kind of a visual for you, but it doesn't represent anything in particular. But it's a burden on you,
Yes.
and it causes you anxiety, sadness, and anger.
Yes.
And you feel it all over.
Yes.
And it's triggered by when the phone rings.
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Does the phone ring sometimes and it doesn't get triggered?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. When would it get triggered when the phone rings?
I think when I'm feeling more vulnerable.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did that happen recently?
I'm not remembering something. I mean, what I'm remembering is when it happened in April and my mother had fallen.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a good example then, because that stands out in your memory. Huh?
Yeah.
Was that a particularly difficult moment for you that time?
Somewhat.
Somewhat?
I mean, it wasn't as agitated because it wasn't serious this fall. I mean, she had to go to the emergency room, but she wasn't hospitalized.
Okay. In all of this, what's the worst of it for you?
That sense of what am I supposed to do about this?
Okay. What am I supposed to do about this? When your thought goes there, remember, you're peaceful and you're here in the present. It felt like to me for a minute you were going back there. I want to keep you here, okay? So it really, when it hits home, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Okay. When did that happen last?
Probably making Christmas reservations
Okay.
with my sister.
Okay.
Like the two of us trying to coordinate that.
You remember that moment?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Remember the feelings that came up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Frustration, anger,
Anxiety?
anxiety,
Okay.
overwhelmed.
Okay. All right. Let's stop right there. I think we have the problem state we want to work on.
Okay.
Okay? That moment with your sister when all of that stuff that you've described mushroomed up. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to tell me, how would you like to feel if that happens? It might happen again in the future. How would you like to feel instead of frustrated, angry, anxious?
I'd like to feel less overwhelmed. I'd like to be able to put it in a more normal kind of, it's frustrating, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Okay, not overwhelming. So you'd like to be able to deal with it like something you have to deal with?
Exactly.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a good idea to me. So now we're going to get ready to do the eye movements.
Okay.
Okay? Remember that you're,
Peaceful.
yes, I love it when you smile that way because that's when I know it's out there and you're here with me. In a minute, I'm going to put a pin up, and that's your cue to look out there and think about it.
Okay.
You're going to put an image out there. You can play it like a movie if you want to. You can make it as small as you want to. You can make it fuzzy so that it's not clear. You can do anything. Make it black and white if it's color and you don't like it. You're in control. That's out there. We're going to do the pen movements in the foreground.
Okay.
When we do a set of movements, I'm then going to ask you, okay, look out there again and tell me if it's the same or if it's different.
Okay.
I won't coach you. You'll just tell me. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let me turn around. You stay right there.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Peaceful?
Peaceful. You feel peaceful?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Yeah. Where do you feel peaceful?
Here.
Here. Okay. Grow it up all the way through your shoulders. Okay. That's good. Now, you're going to imagine you're going to look through these faces and imagine that that's out there on the wall.
Okay.
Okay? And when I put the pen up, that's your cue to put your eyes on the pen and to follow it wherever it goes and try not to blink.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so look out there now. Good. Very good, Karen. Now you can think about one thing while you're watching another. Try to stay with the pen. It's a little bit like splitting your awareness. You're thinking about that event and everything related to it in the background, but you're watching the pen here in the foreground. Very good. Okay, I'm going to take it away. Look at me for just a sec. We take a little break in between. It's a nice sweater.
Thanks.
So go ahead and look out there and tell me if it's the same or if it's different.
It's a little different.
It's a little different. Okay. How is it different?
It's not widescreen.
It's not widescreen.
It's
Okay.
been modified for TV.
It's been modified, so it's not as large.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Any other changes? Go ahead and look out there. Any other changes?
A little less intense.
A little less intense. So are you talking about your reaction to it?
That, and it doesn't look on fire. It doesn't look.
Okay. It's not as foreboding or on fire or alive or something?
Right.
Okay. Any other changes?
It seems further away.
It seems further away. Another visual image. Okay. What about the anxiety?
It's less.
It's less. Okay.
I don't feel teary.
You don't feel teary. Okay. And what about the anger?
Oh yeah, I feel that.
You feel that. Okay. What about frustration?
Yeah, some of that.
Some of that too. Okay. So we're going to do it again.
Okay.
But first, I want to ask you, if it was at 100% when we started, what score would you give it now?
About 60.
About 60. So it's gone down 40%. Okay, great. We're going in the right direction. And you look more peaceful now to me. What are you thinking?
That made me feel anxious.
That made you feel anxious. I knew something was going on with you.
Like, oh no.
What I'd like you to do this time is I would like you to focus on that anxiety. It's out there. It's like you're watching yourself being anxious, okay? But you're peaceful here. Right? You ready?
Okay.
Okay, look out there. Eyes on the pen. Good. Very good. Try not to move your head. That experience out there in the background. We're going to do a figure eight right here in the center, encompassing everything, and we're going to reverse it, reversing everything. And you may find, Karen, that your thoughts about this will change. Look out there and tell me what it's like now.
I can see the people in the room more than I see the situation.
Okay. So it's
So
lost
it's much,
something?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about
It's
the
less important.
less important? Okay. How about the anxiety?
It's still here,
Still up here.
but not with as much emotionality.
Okay. All right.
And it's more, I feel more anger.
You feel more anger. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to do, would you like to feel less angry?
No,
Ah, I'm glad I asked that question. Would you like to use that anger more appropriately
yes,
for you?
for me.
Yes. Okay. So this time, I'm going to do it one more time,
Okay.
and we're going to ask you to focus on the anger. Appropriate use of the anger, and whatever residual anxiety there is. Okay? All right, so look out there. Good. Good. Now, as you explained it, Karen, you're looking forward to the time when your feelings will dissolve, dissipate. Listen. Okay, look at me. All right. Now take a look out there and tell me what it's like now.
The anger is more out there,
It's more out there.
but it's more like vibrant. It's like alive.
Okay? Is that good or bad?
Good.
It's good.
I mean, potentially
Potentially good. Okay, and what about the anxiety?
lot less.
A lot less.
I'm not feeling it
You're
in
not
my
feeling
chest.
it in your chest. Okay, good. Any other changes?
Just no, peaceful.
Peaceful. And what score would you give it now?
About a 30.
About a 30. Are you happy with that score?
Yeah.
Yep. I am too. Now, I'm going to suggest that unless there's a re-injury of some kind, you know, we talk about people going to war and coming back and being healed and then going back again, that this is the way it's going to remain for you.
Okay.
Of course, you'll have to be vigilant about, this is the way I want it to be. You want to use that anger in the right way for you, right? And I know you know what that means for you.
Yes.
Yes, I thought you did. Now, I want you to take a minute and just close your eyes and appreciate everything that you've done today.
That makes me feel anxious.
That makes you feel anxious? What is this, the source of the anxiety?
I don't know.
Don't know? Do you think that might have something to do with the second part of what we talked about last night?
Probably.
That's another day's work. So I'd be happy to work with you on that if you want to.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
But I think thinking about your siblings, if you look out there, do you still feel
It feels right-sized.
it
what
feels
I feel.
right-sized? And
Not as resentful.
not as resentful. Okay.
Angry, and but not overwhelmed.
What do you think it's going to be like in the future when you are in the situation again?
It's kind of like a jack in the box, like just putting it back in the box. It doesn't have to be something that pops out and gets me.
Okay. So when the phone rings, you might be, yeah, I just saw the shoulders shrug there. Tells me, the phone rings, right?
Mhm.
So you think that's a good possibility now, after what we've done today?
Probably, or maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. As far as you can tell right now, it might be. Okay, great.
Okay.
Do you do high fives?
Sure.
All right.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.